Hello, welcome to our podcast, episode number 6. This is Club Hideout. We have our 6th guest here today, Shli. Do you mind
Hi.
giving us a little introduction about yourself?
Hi, my name is Shli. My pronouns are they, them. I am a model here in Korea, and I, for fun, study astrology and I play rugby.
Mm.
Mm.
That's so interesting. From model to astrology to rugby.
Yes.
Man, so basically those three things are the essential in your life, I must assume, right?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Uh, I have a few questions. Is there a reason why you decided to come to Korea? Did you want to become an actress slash model before you came to Korea?
Yes. So actually, interesting story. So when I was younger, I always wanted to be a model,
Mm.
and but my parents were kind of against it. They
Yeah.
wanted me to find serious profession.
Mm.
So a while I was pursuing military,
You were a soldier?
not a soldier,
But you
but
wanted to be?
yes, I
That's
wanted to
cool.
become an officer in the
Damn.
military. I went to a military college.
Mm.
So, and that's where I got my introduction to Korean culture and history.
Oh, okay.
So I was a physics major, and then I switched to history, and I started studying history. And I was kind of sick of taking military history classes, and the only classes available were on East Asian history.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I took some courses on Korean history and culture, and I really got interested in it. And I thought it would be a really cool country to visit. And then looking into the different types of visas, I noticed I was like, wait, I could actually like live here, and I really want to do that.
Mm.
So now I'm here. I'm a model. I quit the military, really wasn't with it at all. And I was like, let me pursue my childhood dream. So now I'm here.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Was it kind of easy for you to get into the industry? Did you need any connections or?
It was interesting. So first I came on a visitor visa, and I spent 2 out of the 3 months of my visa, and I literally went to different agencies in person and like hit them, like was messaging them on Kakao,
Mm.
and one agency had signed me. So
Yeah.
then once I got that, I had a contract and I
Mm.
got someone to sponsor my visa, the agency.
Mm.
Went back to the States to get the visa processed, and then I came here, and I've been here for about 14, going on 15 months now.
That's
So
cool. That's actually quite brave. Like a lot of people just come here to Korea. They want to do the modeling thing, but they don't really approach anybody and then just stay in their own bubble and then
mm,
have the dream of becoming a model, but not actually really pursue anything.
mm. I mean, yeah, it does take a lot of strength and bravery to
Yeah,
like
yeah,
be vulnerable, put yourself out
yeah,
there.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I said it before, like for me, if I'm in front of a camera, kind of feels like somebody's pointing a gun barrel at me.
Oh my goodness.
That's how stressed I can become, like the shutter sounds
Mhm.
sounds like gunshots. They're like very overwhelming. So I can definitely relate.
Yeah. I mean, I was like that at first, but then I had to really build my self-esteem and my confidence
Mm.
and understand that what I'm doing is a type of art.
Yeah, yeah,
And once I have that mindset of like, this is just art,
yeah,
execute it as flawlessly
yeah, yeah.
as you can,
Mm.
it's a lot of fun and I enjoy
Mm-mm.
doing it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, definitely we can tell by the makeup you have today too.
Yes, I literally came from a collaborative shoot.
Mm.
It was a beauty concept, and the makeup artist did such a good job. And I was
Yeah.
like, I only wore this for about 2 hours and I don't want to take it off.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I was
yeah.
coming here and I was like, let me just share the beauty of this. This is so beautiful. So, yeah.
And another way to, I guess, enter the industry is to do a lot more collaborations, like how you did today, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that is very true. Collaboration, networking, that's honestly what's really helpful and beneficial
Yeah.
to getting into the industry
Yeah,
and
yeah.
trying to survive. Like so far, last year I had a lot of I had some decent shoots. So I did a Samsung commercial.
That's cool.
And I actually was in Sephora for Kaja Beauty. That was an amazing shoot. They covered me from like the waist up in like body glitter. So it was like their product, and they literally like for an hour straight just covered me, and it was awesome, amazing shoot. You can check out, just go through like, I think I filmed it. I shot it in February 2023 and it came out around like March, April. So if you go through the Instagram, you'll see me. But that was wonderful. And then I actually was a extra in a Disney Plus show here
Really?
in Korea. Yeah.
Damn.
So they were like,
Can you name it?
the variant I think was like the shooting name. I don't know actually the
Yeah.
name. And it was like a very small role. I was like, one of the characters had a fashion company and they
Yeah.
needed models to
Yeah,
film
yeah.
like a montage.
Yeah.
And then so I was like holding like smoke canisters and like posing.
That's cool.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
And I also did a shoot with Veruza Skincare, which is a Korean skincare company that's like pro, like environmental friendly, amazing products. Like they gave me free samples and I've been using them for months.
That's what I was gonna ask, if they give you
Yes.
free samples.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And I was so grateful because it's honestly been so great. And they're really interesting as they make their products and ship from Korea, but they only sell to UK and US.
Oh, really? I didn't know
Yes.
that.
So
Oh,
any
okay.
Western people out there looking for really good skincare, Veruza. I'm not paid to say that. I just literally have been using it. It's honestly amazing.
I mean, your skin looks amazing,
Oh,
so
thank you.
probably helps.
So yeah, and then I've been in a dry like spell. So honestly, like 10 days ago, I changed my look. I did not look like this. I decided to buzz cut my hair and then dye it blonde. So now I'm revamping my portfolio, which is why I'm doing a lot of collaborative shoots.
Yeah, that's pretty
And
cool.
so yeah, it's kind of it for like what like for me my modeling in Korea is. So we'll see where it goes. Hopefully you'll see me in more things.
Definitely. I mean, yeah, that's pretty exciting. I think a lot of people should take your advice here and then just really go for it and then see what happens. But yeah, I don't think I was as brave as you when I was around your age. Like, you know, it's always kind of difficult to put yourself out there. Like, definitely exposing yourself. It's kind of, you're showing your vulnerability a little bit. So, which I can definitely understand.
Yeah.
But is like one of the reasons why you were able to perform, because like, because last time when I met you, you were really into astrology.
Yes.
So was there like a flow of the universe, how you felt?
Actually, yes. So part of the reasons that I confirmed coming to Korea was I checked my astrocartography,
Okay.
which is where you take like your birth chart and you map the world and you can see which location would be like beneficial for you.
Okay.
So I felt really drawn to Korea and then I checked it and I remember crying because I was like, oh my gosh, that's going to be really wonderful. And I said I would have a lot of community and support here and of my ideas. And honestly, like the reason why I'm able to like come to Korea and, you know, do collabs and, you know, be out here just being me is because of the community I have. So, but yeah, astrology pointed me in this direction. So,
yes.
yeah.
I actually invited you because I was pretty curious about the astrology stuff too. Because astrology is not really big in Korea. We have this thing called Saju. It's pretty much similar. You have to specify what year, date you're born, and the time too.
Yes.
And then it's like a life cycle of like humans, how like from the past, and then sounded pretty similar to astrology for me.
Yeah, that sounds like sounds pretty similar. Yeah.
So first of all, how did you get into astrology?
How did I get? So we can talk the astrological route, which is in my birth chart. It says I'm actually going to be an astrologer.
Really?
So I've gotten readings in the past by astrologers, and they'll tell me, they're like, I can't wait to get a reading by you one day. That's what they'll tell me.
Really?
And I'm like, oh, okay, like that's pretty big, because of the way my birth chart is set up. I have very like astrological, like I'm gonna be studying astrology and spirituality, and I'm already on that life path. So I was like, wow. So we can say that it was literally, I'm destined for astrology. But I really got into it. I've always been fascinated with the stars growing up. So like, I live in like born and raised in South Florida, 3 hours from Cape Canaveral, which is where they do rocket launches. So I'd be able to sit in my backyard and watch like rockets go up.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yes. Yeah. So, yeah, I've always been interested in space and science. And then I just kind of like, another study of space was astrology. So I mentioned I was a physics major. So that was partially the reasons. It's the study of stars in any way. So, and astrology, I know some people are going to be saying or thinking like, oh, but it's not a real science. It's technically is, but it isn't. Honestly, a lot of the science we have today is from astrology.
Yeah, that's
because like all our ancestors around the world used the stars to navigate their everyday life. And basically astrology is just history and people just took the pattern of the stars. And astrology is just the study of history and the pattern at the time and realizing, okay, like this is what the stars are doing. They did this in the past. We can predict this is what's going to be happening, you know, now. So yeah, that's astrology.
It's like, it's kind of like history, but not just as humans, just like a broader spectrum of the entire universe, I guess you could say.
Yes, actually, yeah.
That's pretty cool. But like, so how you were interested in in the universe, the stars, but so, and then you got into astrology.
Yes.
And like at the moment now, you're pretty damn accurate at reading.
I don't think I'm that accurate yet because there's some astrologers who I study and they're way more accurate. So I'm still studying. I still view myself as an amateur, but I try. And the only accuracy you can have is literally reading the history of other astrologers and what they predicted and said, and just seeing like, okay, the stars and the patterns, the way the planetary aspects, so it's how planets are influencing each other. So geometry is involved. I'm really bad at geometry, so I got to work on that. But yeah, I try to be as accurate as possible. And honestly, I have apps that help me. So yeah, that's what I use.
You know, but it's kind of cool, like how astrology interlinks with spirituality too, which I found it really interesting because I really like philosophy and the spiritual aspects of life. And then the way that you explained to me last time, like the two seem kind of intertwined a little bit, you know?
Yes. Actually, it was pretty interesting. Earlier this week, astrologer S.J. Anderson, he made a video and he was discussing like religion and astrology. And apparently Christianity with the cross, it's broken into 12 angles.
Okay.
That's astrology is the 12 zodiacs. And then he explained with like Muslim, Islamic, it's the moon and literally the star. So moon and Venus. And so he said the two is Christianity is like a sun religion, and then Islam is like a moon religion. So like they go very hand in hand. Even in Catholicism, like the oldest tarot deck is at the Vatican.
Okay.
Yeah. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Can you like explain me a little bit about how this thing actually works? Because I have pretty much like no idea. I know like there are like it's based on the 12, right? The star zodiac signs.
Yes. So there's like there's 12 houses and like which are like,
what are houses? Is it?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to how do I explain it? So there's
try to teach me.
Okay.
I'll be a student.
Okay. I'm gonna try as a student myself.
Yeah.
So please, astrologers watching this, correct me if I'm wrong. Let's help these people out.
It's fine. We're all students, so.
So yeah, there's 12 houses, and basically it's like I think it's 30 degrees. So think of like 360 a circle.
Yeah.
And 30 degrees each. That's 12.
Yeah.
And each house can represent a certain aspect of your life. So like the first house is like ego, what you physically look like. Second house is like finances, material possessions. Third house would be communication, and day-to-day travel. Fourth house, family, etc. So on. Like each house represents something. And for the planets, there's the 12 planets, and each represent a specific sign, and then as well as house per se. But depending on your personal birth location, your birth time, and your birthday, it kind of changes a bit. But it's all kind of the same 12 houses, 30 degrees, and then you just plot the points and you see how they interact. I hope
cool.
Explain that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just like randomly thought like 12 and 12 disciples since we were talking
about
religions.
Yes, actually. So that's what S.J. Anderson, the astrologer I mentioned. He was like the 12 disciples, you got the 12 signs. And I think there's a few astrologers that I've seen who put like each 12 zodiacs with each disciple.
Yeah.
So like it was actually really cool. So it really goes hand in hand. Yeah.
It's actually pretty cool how like mostly everything is really interlinked with religion too, and then even religion is interlinked with how astrology seems pretty cool.
Yeah.
Has it helped you in a way with your spiritual journey?
Oh yes, absolutely. So, I forgot which astrologer earlier this week was describing Astro by Max. That's his Twitter name. He said astrology is a syllabus, and you can use it to help guide you through life. And I have used astrology to help me when I'm like facing mental challenges, like maybe depression. And I'm like, when it's so tough, when will it get over? And I'll use astrology to be like, hey, it's gonna get rough because of this transit that's happening, but there's an ending point for it, and it'll give me like motivation and strength. And as for spirituality, so I'm Haitian Catholic, so I'm Haitian American, and my family is Catholic. So I pray to my ancestors and I pray to like Saint Michael and God and whatnot. But so Saint Michael the Archangel there's actually like zodiac signs that are designated to each archangel.
Oh, okay.
So like I will pray to certain ones that I know are like influencing my chart. So that's how it's actually really helped me propel myself into spirituality. Because at a time where I decided I was agnostic, I didn't really trust the church. And then I really started studying astrology. And then a lot of astrologers were saying that you need spirituality to help embody astrology. Like you can't just depend on astrology. You need that spirit aspect of whatever it is you choose for your spirituality. To have astrology like come together with it is great. And for me, I grew up Catholic, so I just ended up back into Catholicism, and then I realized, oh wow, Catholicism and astrology actually really go hand in hand.
Really?
So,
Can you explain me in what way? Because I'm Catholic too.
So yeah, the archangels, like they have signs like that go forth. Actually, I have that pulled up.
Yeah, you can look it up.
So yeah, so I don't know how to explain this. So I'm very Venetian ruled. So I have like, I'm a Libra sun and a Taurus moon, and both are ruled by Venus. And a lot of astrologers will say like, oh, that's why you're pretty and that's why you're a model. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, you're probably very artistic, and I love the arts, and it's very. So I pray to Archangel Anil. I think I pronounced it wrong. And this archangel, if we look, they're in the Christian and the Jewish faith, but it shows like which like signs they like the archangels will like be ruling over. And Venus is, so Libra and Taurus are this archangel, and that's in Catholicism. So Saint Michael, I forgot which one he is, even though I pray to him every day, but I'm pretty sure he's like a fire sign, because my dad prays to him a lot, and my dad's a fire sign. So it was like interesting that the one archangel you pray to devoutly is a fire sign. So
does your dad know astrology too? Or
no, he doesn't, but he's very open to it with me. Like, so like he'll allow me to like text him like, hey, I looked at your birth chart, or like well, first, like I always ask consent to look at someone's birth chart. You gave me your stuff. Like I'm not gonna look at it until you give me explicit consent. So I'll like message my dad. It was around his birthday. It's like, let me look at your birth chart. Let me see what's up for you this year. And I checked. I'm like, oh, you're going into this perfection year. I'll get to that. And I'll say like it's your solar return. That's what your birthday is. So solar return. It's like the revolution around the sun. So this is what it means. You can manifest this type of aspect, and because you're having a specific perfection year, manifest these types of topics. So he'd be like, okay, like thank you. He'll send me stuff, or he'll say like he devoutly goes to church, he listens to church, and he'll be like, oh, the priest said this about astrology today, or referenced like the lunar eclipse. And I think that's pretty cool. So but he supports it. But
that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I mean, definitely sounds like you have a good relationship with your dad too. Yeah.
And actually, like I got a reading, and I was so surprised and shocked that I like had to pause. But they're like, yeah, it's because fathers are ruled by Saturn, which is the planet of karma. So like everyone, if you check like where your Saturn is in your chart, you can see how your relationship is with your father.
Really?
Yes. So
can we check if it's right with my?
Oh my gosh, dad? I'm not good at that, but I will try. Let's try.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Oh my gosh. So like for me, they were like, it was I got a reading from the astrologer and tarot and programmer algorithm.
Okay.
That's his and he sent a recording. I wasn't live. All I did was send him my birth time, my birthday, my birth location. I had to stop because he, based on seeing like my Saturn in my chart, he was like, oh, your dad worked a lot when you were younger, so you didn't see him around. I was like, what? Like watching this recording, and then he goes, oh, it must be hard being the child of an immigrant. I'm like, I didn't tell you my dad was an immigrant. Like, so basically he looked at my Saturn and like the aspects and was able to narrow down like, oh, your father was an immigrant. He worked a lot. It was kind of a rough, distant relationship, but you guys are getting closer. And that was like over a year and a half ago he did that. And now everything he said has come true. Like me and him are coming closer.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, astrology is real. Yeah.
curious how accurate it would be with my relationship with my dad.
Oh, I'm kind of curious to see. Like, I want to see if I can. Let's see
Yeah,
what
let's try a live reading.
live reading. Oh my goodness. So the app I use to read is Time Passages Pro. I paid for the one time like $30 fee because I wanted to get all access to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's see. Fellow Scorpio rising. I thought that was so cool. Oh, your Saturn is in Aquarius in the 3rd house. Okay, let's see. Hold on, let's see what it says. Usually it will say something about like a parent. It's saying something. I don't know. It seems pretty intimate. Do you want me to like read what it's saying?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, so you might have, it says in your early years, you had a sense of isolation and loneliness, maybe with siblings or in your family.
Could be true. I'll read it and then I'll explain what happened in my life.
So I'm trying to see, like, I don't know astrology like off the dome like that. So I'm trying to see like what it says about like father. Okay. That's interesting. Saturn in Aquarius, because Pluto just went into Aquarius and it's like a huge moment right now. So for the next 20 years, we're gonna see significant changes actually like in community. Actually more people studying and depending on astrology. So the fact that you're like, today, come talk astrology on this podcast, and I'm like, Pluto just went in Aquarius this morning. And my astrologer who I use, Chad the Maverick, wonderful. He just did like a whole reading, an hour-long reading earlier this week about Pluto and Aquarius transit.
Yeah.
And he was all like, oh, so get ready for community and astrology. And then you were like, hey, come talk astrology on this podcast. And I was like, this is insane. Like, wow. Okay, so let me check. I'm going to check your moon because that can tell maybe your parents.
It's kind of interesting how you really get into this.
Oh my gosh, I love astrology. Oh my gosh, wait, let me check. Okay. So, because in your 3rd house, you have a few placements in your 3rd house. Okay, let me read that. So, you may have had upsetting circumstances in the area of early home life or in relations with your siblings. So for you, the underpinning of sibling relations represents as an instability for you. That's what it's saying. I don't know how accurate that is for you.
Okay. No. Yeah.
Okay.
Trying to process it.
And then my favorite is seeing the music and the painting come up in your chart. I know that's what I was reading for. I was like, why are you a musician? You may also idolize parental figures, and the image that you have of your parents may change and become more, less idolized as you mature. So far that's for parents. Okay. How do you think about that?
So you said something about siblings?
Yeah.
My siblings that
distant, a little isolated growing up.
If I could relate with what you read to what happened to me, not exactly isolation, but I guess you could say isolation in like emotional sense, because I used to fight so much with my younger brother. So whenever we would go to our family to see our grandfather, like the hot topic for the day would be, did you guys fight today?
Oh my
But
goodness.
I would always end up fighting my younger brother. Not anymore, but yeah. Definitely that was like one of the thing. And for the other thing about so it was like something about not idolizing the parents anymore as I grew older. It's like not exactly, well, the way that I would interpret it is because obviously as you become older, you see your parents as more of a human figure than a parental figure. I mean, obviously they're still my parents, but the thing is, I've realized that they're humans too, and they're bound to make mistakes, and which is of course like very acceptable. Everybody makes mistakes, and they were parents for their first time in their lives, so obviously they probably didn't know what they were doing. They were just definitely trying to do their best. And I just understand that. So this is not de-idolizing them. It's just they're more humanized in a sense at the moment. So which actually maybe have a better relationship with them, you know? Yeah.
That's interesting. I wish I knew more so I can like elaborate on that, but that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But mostly whatever, like even astrology or the Saju, the Korean thing, even sometimes like tarot cards, they're always like main thing would be they would always know that I would do music or art. That would be always kind of shown quite strongly, I guess, which I found pretty interesting. And another thing that I had quite in common with my life cycle, obviously probably different for everybody else, but the reason why I didn't believe it was whenever people read mine, it was just they were always telling me the good thing. It was always good. So I'm like, why is it always positive? Where the like? So I thought it was fake because it was just positive in my life. But maybe I just have the easy mode on.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, to me, when I read the arts and whatnot, I was like, I don't know, you just so many of these placements that are artistic based for you. I'm like, it kind of comes easy for you in a sense. You're just like naturally born at it. To me, like I read about Venus and Aries in the 5th house. So like to have a fire sign Venus, so like Venus rules the arts, and to have fire and passion within the arts, and the 5th house is literally creativity. That is, I mean, come on, that you have passion and power and drive and creativity in the arts, so that's kind of like how it's easy for you. So I know maybe it is. I know for me, because I'm a Libra and Saturn is exalted in Libra. So that means the planet of karma like rules over me.
Yeah.
So like I go through some, can I curse?
Yeah.
I go through some shit. And I know I go through some shit, and it's just like the planet of karma, Saturn, just really just, I got to go through that in order to get what I manifest or want to achieve in life. So like that's how I know for me, like it can be good in the end, but I gotta know I'm gonna face some shit. So
you think you had some like past karmas in your current life?
Honestly, because the 12th house, I have two, like, so my sun is in the 12th house. My sun is in Libra in the 12th house. And I know there's gonna be astrologers who are gonna be like, oh, that's rough. Because the sun and Libra do not like being, so like Libra does not like being in the sun, and the sun does not like being in Libra. So that's like technically a bad placement.
Really?
I'm like, that's mine. And it's in the 12th house, which is the house of like your personal turmoil. Some people even say it's like your past life. So if you have placements there, it means like you're paying karmic cycles off. And then also my Mercury is in Libra in the 12th house. So like, honestly, that's how I'm able to talk so deep and openly about like just stuff, like not stuff like heavy, deep stuff. Because it's my planet of communication is there. But so the fact that I have 2 planets in my 12th house, some people are like, yo, you're paying off some karmic cycles from a past life or something. I just take it as, I'm like, I don't know. I try to take it in stride. What I do is I look at astrology and they'll tell you where the placements that it struggle, and I'll read where it struggles to better it. So that's the really cool thing about astrology, is always about balance. And maybe because I'm a Libra and that's literally the scales, balance represents me. I'll look at any negative aspects to see how can I make it a more positive, like what work do I have to do? And that's how I use astrology to better myself. So
do you have like a basic idea of what kind of past karma that you might have had?
I'm not too sure.
Or like the things that you are struggling at the moment.
Oh,
maybe that's interlinked with the past.
That is so deep. Okay, that is so personal, low key. But I'm gonna talk about it anyways, because I have a Libra, like my sun and Mercury's in the 12th house. Deep stuff is like my persona, and also I'm a Scorpio rising. You're a Scorpio rising. Death and transformation. We're like, let's talk about this. Yes. So I say some of the stuff that I'm going through now is karma I am paying off from past. So I'm now a month into talking to my mother, and I hadn't talked to her for like properly for like years. And then I didn't talk to her, like blocked and everything for a year. And we started talking like a month ago, and I'm paying off that karmic debt. And honestly, it's been beneficial. I still don't talk to my siblings. I have a twin and I have an older brother, and I don't talk to them. But hopefully, and honestly, astrology says eventually I will. And it'll be together. So I'm just kind of just letting life go through. But I'm pretty sure I had some karmic things in the past where I paid off the debt of maybe not taking. I took maybe like personal friends and family for granted, maybe in a past life. And this life was showing me like, this is what happens. You're going to break apart. You're going to be alone, isolated, miserable. And you'll see how much community and family means to you. So yeah, I think I'm paying off some karma like that right now. So
I think you definitely want to be in touch with the family.
Yep.
Yeah. I can very relate. Like, I think we had a similar conversation about last time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, trying to think of the meaning of life and some of the purpose why we're here. And for me, the end result, what I realized was valuable for me in the end was the close friends that I had, like friends, family, the lovers that I might have and the potentially in the future, is what matters the most. Like nothing else really matters that much except that I've shown enough love for me personally, that I've shown enough love to my friends, families, and lovers.
Mm-hmm.
Others is just illusion, unnecessary things I felt. I mean, obviously you need money or have a successful job, but like they say when when you're about to die, your life flashes. You have a flashback of your life,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought about that too, and I thought about what it would remind me of, and I think, yeah, I think for me personally, it would be not showing enough love to my family and friends. It's the only thing that I probably would regret.
Mm.
Because the rest is kind of pointless, you know?
Right.
It doesn't matter how much money you had in your bank account.
Yeah.
Or like, yeah. And then the extension of that would be to be being a kind person to every person that I would interact with, hopefully.
Right.
That's like if you take a step back and then, like don't just think about your friends and family, then it'd be like,
It's like Wayman from Everything Everywhere All at Once.
yes.
Be kind, where he's
Yes.
like, that's
Yes.
how he fights.
Yes.
Be kind. And I'm a firm believer of that as well.
That was my favorite movie.
That is my favorite movie.
Yeah.
I cry every time I watch it. It's at a new part.
Yeah.
But it's interesting you say that because we're both Scorpio risings, and we'll think about death naturally and just be like, what would happen if I were to die? Would I be happy? And we kind of like go through that transformation process.
Yeah.
But because of that, I notice you have your sun in the fourth house, which is fourth house represents family. And so that means like your sun sign, like so a huge, like basically your ego and yourself is intertwined with family and community. I have Jupiter in my fourth house, and Jupiter is the planet of abundance, the planet of joy, like knowledge. And for me, knowledge comes from family and community. So that's why we're kind of similar. And your moon is in the seventh house. My moon is in the seventh house. Seventh house is partnerships.
Yeah.
So that's why like it's kind of the same thinking we have and feelings towards like, oh, this is how we view family, partnership, and revolving around the ego and the self. And what happens, like you said, if you were to die, like how would you view life? Because literally same. So that's interesting. But I totally feel you on that. I totally agree. And that's why when I mentioned in the beginning, like a huge part of why I was able to come to Korea and keep doing what I'm doing is the community I have, the close friends, even my agency that I'm with right now. It's without any of them, I wouldn't be able to do this. And even the people like I mentioned my ex who cheated on me at the time. When we were together, she was very supportive. She helped me come out here, helped me pursue my dreams. So like I can't, deny that. So at the time she did help me. And like you said, like lovers you may have, like I don't know who is next in my life, but they'll probably help me in the sense of community and family. So I agree 1,000%.
Yeah, you can't really live life by yourself, You may think you can, but not really. Humans are naturally social beings. They want to be in a community. So,
and that's so fitting because, like I said, Pluto went into Aquarius. Community is huge. So I'm really excited because right now I know the world seems really divisive right now, but it's gonna come together. The next 20 years, like we're gonna work steady at it, and everyone's gonna come closer together.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
It's quite cool that you mentioned that movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Like there were so many scenes that resonated with me so much. Like do you remember the scene where they turn into rocks?
Yes.
And that was like so cool too, because like because we are humans, we can only perceive a finite amount of timeline, which is approximately about 100 years. But if you think further away, like whatever that's constructing me currently will eventually be everything, even a rock.
Yes, even a rock.
Yeah. And I really liked how they portrayed the daughter and mom like coming together at the end, and then how they're embracing each other, and they had like different clips, different parts, and then at one scene there was a planet colliding.
Yes.
And that was like so powerful for me because probably they were the planets.
Yeah. I mean, we're literally all stardust.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, come on now.
Yeah.
Like, And that's to me like why when I argue people like scientifically for astrology is LIGO is like the study of the gravitational waves. We have instruments out here on Earth that study the gravitational waves. And they recently put out in the past couple months the results of basically gravitational waves are like the ocean, where even though we think of the ocean, we know there's constant waves. So that's like gravity out there. So that is literally like all the planets, everything in this entire universe affecting each other is like this whole ocean of gravity. And that's how I view astrology. I'm like, we're just all interconnected. We're all touching upon each other, influencing each other.
They can't really deny that because, I mean, if you say you believe in science, then science says Big Bang's how the universe started. So it just came from a singular point.
Yeah.
So we started from the same point, you know?
Yeah, right.
It's just stretched out.
Yeah, and it evolved. And,
And it's the illusion that we're separate, but it's just a singular point. Actually, it's the same.
Yeah.
You can argue that, you know, if you really think about it. So, yeah. It's like, I don't know if you know about MBTI. Like Koreans are really into MBTI. So I am ENTJ. And I think the second one, N, is intuition or sensing. So my intuition is 100%. So my thoughts go like pretty crazy.
Oh, yeah, because you're ENT.
J.
Yeah, so I am INFJ. So yeah, intuitive.
Yeah, very intuitive people. But like, so yeah, I like kind of link that. So by realizing that we all come from a singular point, I view life with that aspect. So when I see people that I don't get along with, at the end, like I think about that we actually come from the same point. So it's just an illusion that we're separate, but we're actually just one in a way. And I think the realization that me, including every human, especially like even animals, the planets, since we came from a singular point, like that, this everythingness maybe is potentially God. That's how I saw things. You know? Like because we can't grasp what God is, and it's just not a singular being. So that idea of maybe that everything is intellect and this oneness is what maybe God is. And then in Korea, we say God 하느님, which is like hana, like which is one, and nim is like this being. So it's like one being.
Wow.
So I was like, maybe, you know, like it's kind of funny how wordplay comes to play, you know, like so like one being thing.
That is so cool. Wow. Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like we're just all oneness. And I literally was just having this discussion this morning with someone. We were talking about like religion, and so some of the archangels like I pray to, like it'll literally explain, oh, and like this is Freya, or this is Israeli Frida in voodoo, this is Freya in Nordic. So like it's literally like the same entity, just a different name, but it's just all interconnected. So it doesn't matter like who you call your God. We're all probably also praying or venerating the same being. So, and it's the same with I pray to my ancestors, I venerate them. So like every week I'll cook them a meal, put it on my altar, and because I know I am my ancestors and my ancestors are me. So biologically, scientifically speaking, yes, that's true. Some of my characteristics, even how I look, I can look back generations and there'll be someone who I got that personality trait from, but when you go the ancestor math, when you realize like it's almost like we come from like the same like group of people way back when. We're just all one. In the beginning, we were all one.
Yeah. If you revert back, then exactly, just one. It's kind of hard to grasp that with our human minds, you know? Because we think we're like individuals and different beings, and especially in this world, like being individual and individualistic is considered like really important. And like
I think that's how we were trained. I think naturally all humans knew, like originally, like before like colonialism, imperialism, white supremacy, anything that like used war and influencing our minds to make us individualistic. Our ancestors knew we were all interconnected. If we look at different continents and the ancestors and the indigenous people of those lands, it was the same thing. They studied the stars. They thought we were one. Community was everything. And when it was like, actually it was interesting. I read a biological study that said like certain areas that had lack of agriculture, they kind of got developed the like evolutionary delayed. So like European nations, they don't really have good agriculture. So that's why it was kind of like, oh, as soon as you had a plot of land that made food, you got to fight for it, you got to kill for it. But like other parts of the world that were very like fertile, had a lot of growth, are very more open and loving. Like, so like Africa, the Americas. So explaining like, okay, maybe somewhere like imperialism that came, like human hierarchy that came like 700 years ago, it was literally because of like lack of food, and people got like traumatized and were like survival. So I think that's like a taught thing. And I feel like slowly but eventually we'll go back to the resources of sharing and realizing, no, we are together one, let's support each other. Because I realize like, yes, we're all individuals, but we're individuals collectively. And we all personally have traits that make us connect with one another. And in all different walks of life, different groups of people we'll connect to just based on ourselves. But we're not just individuals.
It's just, I didn't mean it in a negative way by saying being individuals, but because it's just a way to, it makes life more interesting because everybody views things differently, even we live in the same world. There's never an objective truth what we're witnessing. It's just we're pretty biased with what we're experiencing it. So just everybody experiencing their life, and then that's why art is very subjective and beautiful in its own way, because it's how an individual, like how each person sees one thing and how they're expressing their life story, which I find pretty cool. So, and I think all of these ideas and thoughts put together, maybe we can be closer to what's real, closer to the objective reality, the objective truth, the meaning of life, maybe.
Yes.
Like experiencing everything. And then like this crazy thought I had one time was like, maybe if they have the simulation theory, right? So maybe we experience life as every single being, but you just remember that one at the moment. I'm just remembering this part. But you have to experience the entirety of being everything.
Yes.
And then maybe you're like, oh, this is what it was about. And you understand.
The oneness. Yes. Yeah, because I like sometimes I'll feel like, oh, I believe that theory wholeheartedly, or maybe, or like we stemmed from the one thing and technically we're all interconnected and have experienced all our lives at the same point in time. And we're just experiencing this one consciousness at this moment. I totally agree. Anything to make it feel like we're more interconnected, I'm like, I agree.
Just like a really deep down rabbit hole of what's real or important. But like one of my favorite stories is, I think I may have said it in the podcast, but it was like about 5 blind people and an elephant. And then just the 5 blind guys went to see an elephant, and each guy was touching the different part of the elephant. One guy was touching the tusk. It was like elephant is like a spear, and the other guy was touching the tail. It's like, no, it's like a snake. One guy was touching the leg. It's like, no, it's like a tree trunk. The other guy's touching the ear, etc. Like, so it's basically talking about an elephant, but vastly different. But it's just talking about the same thing.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So it was kind of cool, like how you thought about religion was kind of like that, and about everything too. But it's probably talking about the same thing, but just like perspective is different.
Interesting, because I took a class where we literally read religious texts. So like we started like at the beginning of every class, our professor was like, okay, take the religion out of this. We're going to look at these texts. And it was literally the elephant, the philosophy, the thought. Where it was like we were analyze these texts. So it was like the Christian Bible, the Quran, Torah, even South American text, Nordic, every like religion you can think of. And we read it and we realized like so many were overlapping where they were talking about like the same concept or idea, and it was just like a different way. And it was just so fascinating, and it really honestly made me feel like I wasn't alone. And I'm like, no one was ever alone. We just described the same thing differently. So I totally agree.
And the funny thing is like, I haven't done that many podcasts yet. So since you're the 6th person that came here, but because I wanted to continue doing this podcast, I invited other guests that I will probably film in the future. But I wanted to break the ice, so I met them beforehand. So I met like a bunch of people in this 1 month period of time. And the interesting thing is like exactly how you said it, like because I get to listen to so many different people's life story, but the outlines may be a little different, but what we want or the general idea is pretty much similar. And but it's just how they project themselves and what they value is a little different. And but each one of them are right in their own way, which I found really cool. So like I gain like really good lessons that I incorporate in my life in a way. Because last time when we were eating in the chicken place, we talked about, because for me, like I believe logic was more not superior, but what was kind of defining me as a human. Because I felt like animals had every animal, every living being has feelings, but what distinguishes animals from like me as a human, maybe a higher consciousness or whatever meaning it has, was maybe the thought that I have. So I valued that a little more, but her story was right. Your friend told me that she values feelings. That was like the basic primal thing that she found. That was the first thing that kind of defines us, which I found pretty cool. And then I told another girl about this who was in the podcast, and she said for her personal opinion, she believed that taking action overrides everything, because no matter what you think or what you feel, if you don't take action, it's never manifested. It's just inside your head.
Oh,
So I was like,
that is true.
That's true too.
That
I'm
is
like,
true.
God damn it.
Damn.
And I was like, man, actually all three of them are right. You need all three. It's just interlinked.
Yeah, it's just really.
I mean, we obviously use all three of them, probably maybe more tools, but it's just what I was more focused on, what I was just chose to see. But when I heard her story, I was like, damn, like that's so right.
Yeah.
And depending on the situation, like all three of them are just as important as the others, but just I didn't acknowledge it. Now I'm like, now I have like three more tools that I can acknowledge, and then if I have a problem or there are things that that I have to deal with, and I have more tools to think about the situation, which I found was really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but yeah, same problem but different way of approaching it, and yeah, it's pretty cool that I get to grow too as a individual by hearing so many stories. And like usually I'm a really big talker, so it's good for me to shut up and listen. Kind of like forced to shut up and listen to the other person, what they have to say, and then just really be in the moment in the conversation. Yeah, which is not really common, I felt. And maybe for me, because I don't know if it's the same for you. For me, a regular interaction with just with a person, I would maybe focus on them a few minutes, and my mind would wander off somewhere else, and then I would think of something else, and then I would maybe question them about something about what I wanted to say. So it's not really paying attention to them, not really giving 100% of my attention, and not really focusing on what they have to say. I was more focusing on myself, on what I had to say, but it was like a good learning experience just to put my opinions aside and just to listen whatever they have to say, and just like really listen. Yeah, it's pretty cool,
That's cool, and you're doing a good job. So that's awesome for you to like point that out about yourself and be like, no, this is what I need to fix, and then actively do it. So like, good on you for doing that. That's some good stuff. Yeah, for me, I like making people talk. I love learning everything about a person that I can. So I like just be engaged, asking everything I want to. But I'm very empathetic. So like, yeah.
You know what? I like maybe I was just lucky to meet very empathetic people so far, but I realized so many people are like caring, empathetic, and like really loving. Really genuinely like good people, and makes me more optimistic about the world.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, like how I get to meet like really good people, and just to open myself to with the world, and hopefully, we could influence other people to think like us too. Like it's okay to be vulnerable and to open up. It's just accept it and move on, and just be a better version of yourself.
About being vulnerable. So Dr. Brene Brown, she does like the study of vulnerability, and that's honestly the bravest thing you can be is vulnerable. So if you want to be brave, like braver than anything in the world, literally just be vulnerable.
Yeah, because you have to accept and then face what you're vulnerable about to actually, to be vulnerable.
And that's why I think you have so much strength as an artist, because you're vulnerable in your music. So, and I think I told you this before when we first met. I was like, that is really like tough to just put yourself out there, the vulnerability, and allow people to accept, listen to it, reject it, whatnot.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
so strong.
yeah. I think it's just you're right. That's kind of a trait that I have. Like, I have a close French friend. She was the first guest in this episode in the podcast, and she helped me go through my breakup since she lives close here, and then she was French too. So my ex girlfriend was from France, and I didn't have a proper closure. Maybe I got one a couple of days ago, I think, but it's kind of fun because we always have like a small debate with me and her. We like always argue about like different subjects, different topic, and this time it was like for me, since I'm really expressive with my thoughts, I wanted to text my ex-girlfriend, but she kept on saying no. She's like, you should give her space and respect her. But I was like, well, I mean, I've always respected her personal space and her life views. That's why we broke up too. But the thing is, this time I need my personal closure too. It's like, I'm not asking for her to be back together with me. It's just like I just wanted to tell her what's in my mind, and it's not that we didn't break up in a bad term. I just wanted to express like, I mean, since it's a new year, the happy new year thing, and what I felt and that I've accepted, and then I'm gonna move on because it wasn't so clear before I sent the message. But she was like, well, her not sending anything to you is still kind of a message.
Yeah. A little
Nothing,
bit.
yeah, nothing
Yeah.
is still a message. But I was like, well, yeah, it might be true, but in my head, that's all in my imagination. So if I don't take action, it's just all in my head. And I don't like the fact that it's in my head. I just wanted to put it out. And then if I send her a message and then if she doesn't reply back, then I know for sure too. But now, before that point, it was just we broke up, but I still wanted to see her. So I asked her if I could go see her on Friday. Because it was a long distance thing. I asked her if I could go to France and see her, and she's like, "Well, since she's got a new job, if she finds out her schedule, she'll tell me." Like a month passed, and I just didn't
Dang.
like the
Not like the actual answers
yeah
that,
not having like full clarity.
yeah.
Obviously, I kind of knew that um uh her not receiving a schedule at this point probably meant that she didn't want to see me, which I kind of got, but it's still not the full closure that
Yeah,
I
right.
wanted because
Yeah.
it's like still vague, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and I hated the fact that I was still like clinging on a little bit that she might text, you know? I just wanted to be clear. And so, I managed to write a song about what I felt, but I joked around with my friend Marie. It's like, I told her, yeah, I said I'm gonna send her my song today. But she's like, bro, no, don't send the
Right.
song.
Remember you mentioned that? I was like, oh my God, please tell me you didn't send this song.
Actually, I did,
Oh.
but with a letter,
Oh.
not just a song.
Oh.
But so to summarize the letter, it was something like, I think your silence probably uh, is already an answer, but I'm still sending this letter for my own personal closure, and like you probably know that I've really cared and loved you a lot, but I understand on our different life trajectories, but I know even though we're apart, I know what I had with you was real, and part of me will still love you in that moment when I met you in the summer of 23. But I know we're heading in different life trajectories. So yeah, this is my last goodbye to you.
Mm.
That's what I said.
I mean, that sounds like good closure for you.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
You're able to say
yeah,
everything.
yeah. I think it's what I needed to get out of my head and heart.
Mm.
So it wasn't just. I think it was just the song wasn't too clear enough, but it was just like how I felt about you, and it's not that I want to get back together. It's just my last goodbye, but
Yeah.
a true goodbye with what I felt, what I realized, and that that I understand too, and that I wish the best for her too. It's like because I didn't want it to end in a bad way. So yeah, sending her was the full closure that I know. Yeah, but prior to sending it, she still really like disagree with me. But after I sent it, I was so much happier, and like everything was much clearer for me too. And she understood why I sent this, so she's like, okay, yeah, now I
Yeah.
got it.
I get you. Yeah.
And she replied back to us like she's like, yeah. So it's like proper period of this life chapter. So
Good on you.
yeah, yeah. I'm glad I really sent it. So many people told me not to send it.
Maybe because you're just scared, but you were like, nope.
I don't know if they were scared, but for me, even though in my head I knew that I shouldn't send it, but I was like, no. But like my heart was like, bro, you know,
I mean, yeah,
you want to
if
send it.
it's like the heart, the gut feelings telling
Yeah.
you like send it, then like
Yeah.
you got to follow your
That's
heart,
what I
follow the
actually listened
intuition.
to, the things of logic, feelings, or action.
Oh, okay.
I thought about it. I'm like, logically it makes sense not to send it, but yeah, this time like my subconscious was like really, really wanted the closure and really wanted to tell her like what was in my head and just not leave it vague like that, which I didn't want. So yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I don't think I would have necessarily sent a message if I hadn't done the podcast because I wouldn't had those advices with me. So that's why I'm saying it's pretty cool to, you know, hear every person's aspect and then to make my choice.
That's on
from that.
community. Yes.
Yeah.
That's
So,
awesome.
Yeah. So that was my closure. Glad to be moving on, you know, quite happy about what will happen now. So yeah, much happier. But
That's good.
yeah.
It's like a weight off your shoulders.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. I think definitely I'm not afraid to, I guess, say what's on my mind, especially if it's like how you said, even if it's things that are vulnerable. Yeah, I like to get it across more than just keep it in myself. But maybe because personality traits that I'm more extroverted or things like that. I don't know. I don't know what
I mean,
caused
like,
it,
I
but
feel like it's healthier to be more open about what you're vulnerable about because, like, a lot of people bottle stuff up, and that's where they get like mental health issues and issues and just in general. So, like, the fact that you're the opposite of that, I think, is very positive, very good.
Yeah, I think it's beneficial for me too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like things bottled up inside me, so
I think it's beneficial for everyone when people share like what they're vulnerable about because then who knows like what you could be sharing as someone who's feeling isolated and alone and afraid about, and then once you speak it out there, they'll be like, I'm not alone, and
exactly.
you're making a connection with someone, and therefore you can uplift and support each other during a moment. Because I'm kind of like that. I'm very open about like honestly about trauma in general. Like I'm very open about it because like I know what it's like to be alone going through really tough shit, and I'm like, every time I'm going through something really rough, I'm like, I hope never, like, no one has to go through this, especially alone. So, like, that's why I'm very open with, like, just speaking about, like, quote unquote negative stuff, traumatic stuff. I'm very open with that, very vulnerable with it as well. Cause, like you said, like, just why bottle it up when you can just put it out there and be connected, become one.
But once it's out, then it's not a weakness anymore, you know?
Yeah, it's strength.
Yeah, it's definitely right. Because you tend to hide and like how you said it, you bottle it inside, or like but subconsciously it piles up in your subconscious and then it's gonna explode eventually. But so yeah, it will definitely come out. But if you face it, then yeah, you're done. You're over it. That's why you can talk about it actually.
Yeah.
You tend to hide things that you're afraid of mostly. So
yeah, I agree.
You're actually being able to talk about it helps you move on.
Yeah. Some people would tell me like they're like, well, you're so very open about like what you're going through. Like, you know, when I told you I was like, yeah, I'm not in the best living situation, like visa issues, like kind of countryless for the moment. Like, and like people like look at me kind of crazy. They'd be like, why are you like saying that? And I'm like, cause like it's my strength. Like it's what I'm going through. It's my truth that I'm experiencing right now. Like, why am I gonna deny and hide from it when me being open, like I've had people come and support and help me because I was open about it. And I lived through a period where I would not ask for help. I would be very quiet and secretive about what I was going through. And I was just more miserable because I was so alone. And I had a friend mention to me, she was like, the fact that like I find strength in my trauma and I'm very open with it. Cause she said she views her traumas more as weaknesses. And I'm like, it's only a weakness if you make it a weakness.
Yeah, that's definitely right.
So like if people try to use my trauma against me and say it's a weakness, and I'm like, you can't.
Yeah.
Because for me, that's my strength. It's what I got to this moment in life. And if it meant I have to do all the trauma I experienced to get through this exact moment, you know, being here on this podcast, oh heck yeah, I do it. In a heartbeat.
Yeah.
So they can't take from you what, you know, you claim is yours and what you know. So
yeah. It's definitely what's shaping you. What you've experienced. So, and there are no what ifs. Like, you know, since you probably know too, it probably already happened anyways. And because you know how time and space works. You know, in a different planet, if you look at this light that's shining towards them, this probably already happened.
Yeah.
Then
It's like how when we look at the stars, we're technically looking
Yeah,
into the past. So it's
exactly.
like,
So
yeah, it probably already happened.
yeah, and the opposite side, my life probably already happened, and
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm not like the only one who's going through a specific
yeah,
experience.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's actually quite brave of you, and regardless of what medium you use, for you, it's definitely I could feel that it's astrology and learning from that, and then being in tune with the universe with that medium
yep.
is quite cool. So everybody has their own medium, but even with the medium, it takes a lot of bravery to actually be and make it manifested into reality and
Yep.
take actions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
just
mean,
knowing is not enough, but
yeah.
by you taking actual actions and then to change whatever situation you're in into something more positive is really brave. And
That's like you said, the other person on the podcast who was like, if you take
yeah,
action,
yeah,
It like, and that's what astrology taught me. Like, you can sit and manifest all day, but if you don't actually start making action towards your manifestation, it'll never
yeah,
come to fruition. So
yeah,
like, I learned like, okay, I got to start surrender to life,
yeah.
start living life.
Mm,
Anything I manifest and think of will come true.
mm, mm,
And so far, it's been successful like that. So
mm.
can't complain.
Yeah. And you have to realize, my realization was, if everything already happened, whatever things that I want in life, and if it's not happening at the moment, it's just my ego being greedy.
Mm,
And if the things that I do wish happened, then I should be more thankful about the things that happened. It wasn't because I was amazing at it. It was just something that was given to me in a
mm,
situation. So, and the reason why I was hurting in the past was because I wanted things that I didn't have in the present. So in a way that I was going against the tide, because you can say that time is flowing, but I was going against it in a way. But you can't really do that as a person, right? You're
right.
just in the moment and then going with however it's going. But whatever things that I wish that I had, I was just like, I was a person who would always refer back to the past and then think, oh, what if that happened? But it's just
Mm,
what's making me suffer more.
right. Yeah. I
Because
used to be like that too.
yeah,
Yeah.
'cause you just have to accept what you have. But I was mostly a person living in the past, wishing that I was,
Yeah, I was.
different
Oh,
or
I'm very similar like
yeah,
that. I used to be like that where I'd live in the past, but then also I'd like future trip and be
yeah,
like,
yeah,
what if, what if, what if,
yeah,
what if, what if, what if,
yeah.
and it just
It's like no,
no,
man,
no. You
just
got to just
yeah,
be in the now.
exactly.
Have you seen Kung Fu Panda?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
and you know
yeah,
like Master
yeah,
Oogway, the
yeah.
turtle, and he's like, the now is like
The
a
present,
gift.
yeah,
That's why it's called a
yeah,
present.
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
yes,
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 yeah, yeah, yeah. Wordplay is amazing.
yes.
Yeah, exactly like that too.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like it took a long time for me to realize, but I just have to definitely live today to be happy.
Yes,
Yeah,
I agree because
yeah,
I've recently like for like a month, 6 weeks now, like truly have been just I surrendered to time,
mm,
just live through the moment in the
yeah,
present,
yeah,
and honestly, life has gotten so much better for me.
yeah. I
Like,
can definitely relate. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, the fact that we're living in the present doesn't mean that we are not trying our best for our future. We're still trying our best, but it's just
for the moment,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
and that's enough.
exactly.
Yeah,
So like, I mean, if you want to be a rock star, you gotta start now.
yeah,
And by starting now is with the smallest steps,
mm-hmm.
and then actually that should be you should find happiness in that and
Yes,
not say that, oh, I want to be a rock star now. No, it's just like you
just
being able to, maybe if you wanted to be a rock star musician, you being able to do music now and taking the next step for towards that direction is already a success
yes,
for today.
yes,
So you should think of it like
agree.
that. Yeah,
I 1,000% agree. I yes.
yeah. But I wasn't like that when I was definitely younger. I always wanted more.
Yeah, same. I was like, always like, oh, I want to do this. I want to do this. Never
Yeah,
worked, like,
yeah,
never did
yeah.
anything towards it. And then I
No.
was miserable. But once I started like doing it, and I had a imposter syndrome when I first
Mm,
started too. Like,
mm,
I'm like, oh, I'm not really a model because I didn't do this and this. And I'm like, no, I'm a
yeah,
model because I model. I
yeah,
do.
yeah,
I
yeah,
love what I do, and I do art,
yeah,
and that's who I am.
yeah.
And that self acceptance,
Mm,
yeah. And then the day by day,
yeah.
that's like the key.
Definitely a big step. It was actually really hard for me to call myself a musician too.
Mm,
It's just like it's just the word, but because I felt like I wasn't playing the part how I imagined it in my head,
mm,
calling myself a musician was or an artist was kind of like mm, not very comfortable calling myself that. But once I was fully able to accept, I was like, huh, yeah, it doesn't matter. It's just
Yeah, it doesn't
Just
matter.
gotta start somewhere. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And honestly, it's like the definition you have for yourself.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what anyone else says. Like
Yeah.
someone might come up to be like, well, you never walked a runway show. Like,
Yeah.
it's like I applied to castings, I tried, but I'm still a model either way.
Yeah.
Like you're a musician
Yeah.
because you believe you are and
Yeah.
you feel you are a musician, you are a musician.
Yeah.
Same. So it goes
Yeah.
any way that any shape or form that anyone thinks of themselves is you are.
And words have power, you know?
Yeah.
Once you say that about yourself, and once you start telling people that you are that, then people are gonna perceive you in that way. So,
Yeah.
So definitely important.
Mhm.
And because of that thought, I try not to say negative things too much. I mean, as a joke, it's fine, but like not in a serious sense. I wouldn't focus on the negative parts. I would, but in a positive way. If there are things that I made a mistake about, like I'll accept it and be like, how can I make this better? In
Yeah.
that sense, not dwell on the negative things.
Mhm.
Just like
Just
try to
use it
change
as a teaching experience
exactly,
to prepare you. Like, so you make a mistake, then you use it. How can I be better at this?
Yeah, yeah.
How could I, better the situation that I made a mistake in?
Yeah.
And then therefore use it for in the future. If I come across a potential to make that same mistake again, I don't. I choose a better route.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really happy to hear your life story too. How you were kind of negative, and then you were willing to accept what happened to you, and then willing to grow as a person.
Mm-hmm.
Very inspiring. And then especially for you to come to a different country too. Yeah, not the easiest thing. I dreamt about doing that too. Like since I lived outside of Korea for quite a while, I still think about it, but it's kind of hard to let go everything that I have here in the moment and then just move out. But yeah, it's not obviously definitely not the easiest thing that someone could do. A lot of bravery, but with that you have like a lot of cool experiences too. How you explained to me in the beginning with all the modeling work and advertisement and jobs like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like to me, I view it like my dad did the same thing. He immigrated from Haiti to the States, and he tried his best and gave it all he's got. So I just view it as like I'm just following his footsteps. He said he didn't have it wasn't the sweetest time, it wasn't the easiest time. He had to work hard, and I'm like, I sometimes when I'm feeling down on myself, I just tell him like, my dad had to do this. My dad did this.
Yeah.
This is just you, but just in Korea, not America. So. Yeah, and I get strength in that. So, yeah.
That's pretty cool. Hopefully this year will be better for both of us, you know?
Yes.
Obviously, we'll learn from...
I feel like it's already a better year for both of us.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
What was that, like a week and a half ago?
Yeah,
a week ago?
So much better. It's
already. So, it's only up from here.
Yeah. The ironic thing is... the breakup was the best thing that could have happened to me in a way, because I worked so hard lately in the things that I want to do. Just to be more focused and live in the moment. That is so weird
you say that, because I literally have been thinking about that like for the past couple days, like where I'm like at my situation where I am now. I'm like, wait, being cheated on, and then like that's honestly like the best thing that could happen to me, because like would I have met these people? Would I have done these things? No. So I'm like, I almost want to be like, thank you for cheating on me. I mean, but at the same time, it's like,
it sucks, but it doesn't suck.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. Like for me too, if I didn't break up, if everything went according to plan, my ex would have been here last year in November, and she would have still stayed until now. And she would have left next month around February. So none of this would have happened.
Oh wow. So yeah, now we're both like, okay, hey.
If you really think about it, like wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
And I finished the song because of the breakup too. And that song was around my life for about 6 years, and I wasn't able to finish it. So
oh my gosh.
like so much things happened.
Wow.
This past 1 month, which is pretty crazy to think about.
Wow. Yeah, same. I'm like, wait, this past month alone, I'm like, whoa. So that's everything happens for a reason. So
yeah. Like how we established probably already happened.
Yeah, probably already happened. So it's like, hey.
Yeah. But stay more optimistic.
Yes.
And then be willing to experience. And I'm very happy to fill my life with more experiences and not be afraid of doing certain things. So,
I feel you on that. Same. Yeah. Just believe in myself more.
Exactly.
Do more. Yeah.
And I'm excited to see you more on screen, on a runway show.
Yes.
More advertisement.
Yes.
You know.
Thanks. Yeah. And I can't wait to see what more music you produce and whatnot, and see what you do, especially with the podcast.
Yeah.
Like I said, Jupiter and Gemini coming up.
I feel the energy coming, you know?
Yeah, it's especially it's gonna be with your moon. Like that is so great. Like I told you I was watching a 4-hour astrology podcast, and one of the guys has a Gemini moon, same placement as you have, and he literally was like, "I'm so ready for this transit. It's gonna be so good for me." And I'm like, "This is you. This is for you." I was like, "Okay, so enjoy," and I can't wait to see like how that manifests because it's gonna be great for you. It's awesome.
Yeah, I think it'd be pretty fun to have a full turnaround too. Like maybe shoot the first episode, not the episode, first season of the podcast, and then maybe next year re-invite some of the guests if they're still around Korea, and then talk about how different they are now and what kind of situation, and then
Oh, that'd be really cool.
Yeah. But thank you for coming to my podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I was really happy to have you here.
Oh, this is
having
great.
Good conversation.
Yeah.
And be very excited to have you back again in the show.
I would love to come back. This would be great. We could see how like we're doing in our lives.
Exactly,
yes.
Yeah. And to see if it was right or not.
Yeah, right.
But thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having me.